Good afternoon, and thank you for joining the Key to Excellent Customer Service, hosted by the Federal HR Institute. I am Charlene Sion, FHRI Project Manager at OPM's Center for Leadership Development. We have a few administrative notes. First, there will be a question and answer session at the end of the webinar. So please submit your questions using the group chat box at the bottom of your screen for participant discussion. Please also submit any technical issues into the group chat box. Second, I'd like to direct you to the left side of the screen where you'll see a box labeled Information. There you will find the link for live captioning, audio information, and troubleshooting tips. Lastly, the webinar will be recorded. The recording and slides will be emailed to registered participants later this week. Our mission at the Center for Leadership Development is to develop visionary leaders to transform government. For over 50 years, we have helped government agencies meet their workforce education and development needs through interagency classes, custom programs, and online training solutions. During Public Service Recognition Week, we want to thank you for all that you do in service to our nation. Leadership skills, regardless of your position, are more critical than ever, and we hope that you will gain useful insights from this presentation. As you know, the American people count on the federal government every day. We hope you'll be able to take information from this webinar back to your organizations to help meet mission demands and public expectations. And now, I'd like to introduce you to today's presenter, Dr. Colleen Farrell-Felici, Program Manager at OPM's Center for Leadership Development.
Thank you, Charlene, and good afternoon, everyone, and happy Public Service Recognition Week to all of you. Today, we will talk about the key to excellent customer service with a focus of how trust-building behaviors can lead to better customer service. Part of excellent customer service is service excellence. This course will introduce you to the concept of service excellence and why service excellence is important to all HR professionals. Oftentimes throughout the hiring process, you collaborate with many internal and external stakeholders. Trust may not be there due to a lack of collaboration between the hiring managers and the HR specialists. There may also be some confusion about HR policies and processes within the hiring process. This is why it is so important to adopt a service excellence mindset. Service excellence is an important part of our jobs. In fact, service is one of OPM's core values, and our strategic plan emphasizes the importance of providing excellent customer service by providing accurate, responsive, and timely customer service in our everyday work. Service excellence is an important part of the hiring process, and it leads to hiring excellence and positions our HR professionals to be trusted advisors in addressing the challenges in the federal hiring process. And I always say trust is at the core of the work of all of HR professionals. So what does this mean to you? It means that confidence is placed in your ability to be truthful as an HR professional in your relationships with all of your clients. In this presentation, we're going to be going over some of the following points. The first one is, what is the key to excellent customer service? How does trust play an important role in building our relationships throughout the hiring process? The second one is, how do I use trust-building behaviors to provide quality customer service to customers? And we're going to be talking about some tools and tips and techniques for providing quality customer service to both internal and external customers through these trust-building behaviors. The next one is, how does building trust contribute to service excellence? We're going to be identifying how building trust with others throughout the hiring process contributes to service excellence. And then how do I improve my ability to trust with others? And so we're going to be exhibiting how these trust-building behaviors with others can help you improve your ability to trust with others throughout the federal hiring process through role-playing. We're going to be having about 3 of them. Next slide. So when we mention service excellence, when we think of service excellence, we not only think about meeting our customer needs and expectations through customer service, but exceeding those needs and expectations. Where customer service is solving your customer's immediate problem, service excellence is really digging down deep to find the root cause of the customer's problem and addressing that problem. For example, it is doing more than what you were asked for. It could be possibly addressing recommendations as well. It is going that step further in talking with the hiring official and the HR specialist for a better understanding of the systems and processes in place throughout the hiring process. And by doing this, you're really demonstrating service excellence, and then you become a trusted advisor throughout this hiring process. So I want you to think about a time when you received great customer service. What did the person do? And what do you think the person was thinking? And then the last thing, which is really important, how did it make you feel? So on this slide, we have 4 categories of service excellence behaviors. The first one is knowledge and credibility. Building your knowledge is so critical to improve your credibility throughout the hiring process. The more knowledge you have about the client and the positions that they're asking you to announce and the hiring flexibilities, the better your credibility will be. The second one is being a trusted advisor. Being able to identify, understand, and anticipate what are your clients' needs, recognizing and responding to their customer needs. Differentiation between what the person is asking for and what do they really want, and sometimes what are they not telling you. Okay? Interpersonal skills. And these are the skills we use every day when we communicate and interact with others. And I always say, listen to understand. A lot of times, listen to what they're not telling you. Okay, what is the verbal and nonverbal messages telling you when you're meeting with your HR specialist and your hiring official? Professionalism is the last one. The key to quality and efficiency is professionalism. Being proactive and responding to requests in a timely manner, setting clear expectations, and walking your talk, taking ownership of your projects. So within these 4 service excellence points, there's also 3 foundational skills. And the first one is trust building behaviors. So it's not just enough to say what you're going to say but acting on it, making it happen. Okay, this will help you become more credible as an HR specialist and HR manager. And then communication skills. It's the ability to communicate effectively, okay, providing clear and effective communication. It's also about how we communicate, which will make all the difference if we are trusted and our communication will be effective. And the last one is problem solving, finding solutions to problems. Part of being an HR professional is solving problems on a daily basis, and finding those solutions is critical. The next slide. So in this presentation, we're going to be talking about Stephen Covey and his trust behaviors. And these are the behaviors that are so critical for you in your role, if you're an HR specialist, an HR manager, every day. Trust is the most essential ingredient in effective communication. And if you don't have trust, you won't be credible. Trust is the foundational principle that holds all of the relationships. And Stephen Covey identified 13 behaviors for building trust. What he said was trust affects both the speed and the cost. And what does that mean? He says when there's no trust, the speed of delivery in everything you do will go down, such as redundancy in the workload. And as a result, at the same time, the costs will go up because you're doing that redundancy. So if we incorporate these 13 trust building behaviors into our everyday working relationships, the speed of delivery of our work will go up and our cost to our business and our clients will go down. So I'm going to go through these 13 behaviors and we're going to have some role plays to demonstrate some of them. So the first one he said, talk straight, be honest, tell the truth, even if it's not what the person really wants to hear. An example of this is, no, I cannot override veterans' preference. It's a rule here and a regulation that we must follow. So always be honest and upfront. The second one is demonstrating respect. You can judge a person's character by the way they treat others. Show that you genuinely care about the person you are working with. Treat others with courtesy and respect, even if they differ from your own perspective. Show kindness even to the little things. It's really critical. Creating transparency, being open and authentic. Don't hide information in your everyday project. Tell everybody what you do know and what you don't know. Enable others to verify the facts. And I say here, I have making sure that all of the information is readily available to all of your team members. It's so critical. The next one is right wrongs. If you make a mistake, apologize quickly and try to make amends. Don't try to hide your mistakes. Sometimes this is very difficult because we fear of the consequences, but in actuality, it helps build trust when you admit your mistakes. And it can actually clear things up and help speed the delivery process and open up that trust. Showing loyalty is so important. Talk about others as if they were there. Give credit where credit is due. The people who gain trust, loyalty, entitlement, and energy fast are the ones who pass on the credit to the people who have really done the work. If somebody says to you, I'm happy, that you completed the job successfully, say, well, I couldn't have done it without my team members. And you want to mention all of your team members. That's showing loyalty. Delivering the results. Do what you say you are going to do. When you say it will be done, make things happen. Very, very important. Instead of, I believe we can complete this by tomorrow, I was so happy we are able to complete the deadline by midnight. Get better. Take steps to improve your skill set every day. I always say set up methods to get feedback on your performance on a continual basis. Meet with your hiring official, your HR specialist. What worked well? What can we do better? It's always good to get that feedback, and it will help you build your skill set on a daily basis. The next one is confronting reality. This is very difficult sometimes, especially with difficult subjects. Share the bad news head on. Once you do that, you're able to come up with solutions on how you can fix it. Acknowledge what has been said, and I always say here, consider the consequences of not facing reality. Once you're out in the open with this, you're able to collaborate and come up with solutions for your clients. Clarifying expectations. Clearly describe what envision is going to happen. Ensure that all of your staff understand an agreement with the expectations you set. Stay true to the agreed upon expectations and create that shared vision. An example, when you have 25 vacancy announcements coming in, and you have to get them out on USA Jobs, you need to say, you know what, we really have an expectation that we need to complete this project within 2 months to have our final selectees. Set that expectation and make sure it's clarified with your staff. Practice accountability, setting those clear expectations and then taking responsibility for your desired results. Avoid blaming others, okay? As leaders and HR professionals, we should always hold ourselves accountable and then hold others accountable as well. It's my responsibility to make sure that my team knows the HR policies. And, people feel secure when they know that everyone will be held to certain standards and where there's an effective system in place for accountability. Listen first. Listen to understand. I always say it's so hard sometimes to listen to others. We want to listen to what we think we know, but listen carefully and listen with your ears, your eyes, and your heart. Listen to someone what they're not telling you. Sometimes they don't want to tell you, so you have to kind of look at their verbal and nonverbal language. It's really, really important that you're listening. Keeping those commitments, making commitments carefully, and then doing what it takes to live up to them. Do not overcommit. If you have to break a commitment, be forthright in identifying your mistake. Offer a realistic time frame and deliver on it. And I always say it's always good to loop your team in and the client for realistic commitments as well. And the last one is extending trust. Give trust to others appropriately based on the situation that's involved. And I have an example here. During COVID, our leaders had to extend trust to us as we worked remotely. So you have to, because trust then will be reciprocated back to you if you extend it. So those are the 13 behaviors that should be demonstrated on a daily basis, as we're working together, between the HR specialist and the hiring official in the hiring process. So now, Charlene, who introduced me, we're going to do a role play, our first role play, looking at some of these behaviors. And Charlene is going to be the HR manager, and I'm going to be the HR specialist in this particular role play. Go ahead, Charlene. Charlene? Charlene, are you there?
Yes.
There
Okay, I
she
was
is.
on mute. Sorry about that. Good afternoon, Ms. Farrell Felici. I am calling about the status of a vacancy announcement submitted on April 8th, 2022. I reviewed the applications and interviews. I sent you additional questions surrounding making the final selection.
Good afternoon, Ms. Sion. I meant to contact you back. In case you did not know, Ms. Sion, it is your responsibility to apply selection rules that are legal, and it is my responsibility to ensure that the selection you made follows all the laws and regulations. Do you understand that?
Absolutely, and I hear you. I am a fairly new supervisor and need a little guidance to ensure that I am following selection rules and properly retaining any records related to the selection process.
Now is not a good time. What I would prefer is that you send me an email and I will follow up with you within 2 business days.
Wow, we're talking now, Ms. Farrell Felici. I'm sure we can resolve my questions pretty quickly. I just want to make sure that I am doing this correctly.
Please send your questions by email. I have another call coming in. I really need to accept this call. Have a good day, Miss Sion.
Click.
Click. So this is an example of behaviors that do not build trust. Okay. For example, if you could maybe write in the chat what you saw in this and what you think do not exhibit trust. Dismissive attitude. It was rude. Yes. Yet no empathy. Excellent. Not willing to assist. Did not make the time. Right. The specialist was rude. Yes. And when we look at all of this, okay, when we saw some of these behaviors, what we saw was that it did not that we did when we looked at it. I didn't listen, right? I did not listen to her. I was not clearly exhibiting my listening at all. I was not even demonstrating respect. All right, I was being rude to her. I was being dismissive, and I wasn't even being honest with her. So I wasn't even talking straight to her. I wasn't demonstrating respect, and I certainly was not listening. So they are the 3 big behaviors. And when you look at that scenario, you know, this could, what if I continue to do this on a daily basis, right? This is going to cost us money because now we're talking about more time that is lapsing as a result of the work not getting done. So that's, you know, that's an extreme and a problem. I'm sorry, that's an example of not exhibiting trust. And so if I did treat her with respect, and I did show her that I cared, she would be on her way to making sure that she could make that selection. Very, very important, especially to be helpful. And also just, it, you know, it just doesn't, it's a lack of respect. And what does the person think of me now? She doesn't even want to work with me. And it's costing the company more money. Yes, right. And then they have to, and then it would possibly backfill. Exactly. Excellent, excellent. Katie, what we're going to do now is we're going to do 2 more role plays. And we're going to bring a poll up of the 13 behaviors. And I want you to tell us what behavior you're seeing in these role plays.
Go ahead,
Okay,
Colleen.
great, great. Okay, so in this scenario, it's about customer service, and I'm going to be the HR specialist, and Charlene is going to be the client. So I'm going to go first. So again, look at the poll and tell me what you are able to see, what behavior that is being exhibited here. Okay. I am so excited. I was finally able to send notifications of selection to the applicants who apply to the candidate development program.
Ring, ring. Colleen, I am not happy and a little worried. I have been receiving phone calls from my managers informing me that some of the applicants who did make the cutoff list for the candidate development program were not sent notification of selections. In addition, there were several applicants who did not make the cutoff list for the program who received a notification of selection for the program when in fact they were not selected. What's going on?
You know, Charlene, I'll look into this right away. I can't believe this is happening. I was so careful with the entire process. I don't know what to do. This is huge. I am so afraid this is going to go all the way up to the director's office. If I make a mistake, I'll be done. Ring, ring. Charlene, thank you for bringing this mistake to my attention. I reviewed the process for sending out the notifications, and halfway through my review, I realized I made a huge mistake in setting up the automated talent management system for sending out the notifications. I apologize. It was an innocent error. I will be sure to correct this mistake right away.
Thank you, Colleen.
And I am looking at the poll results below. It looks like we have a lot of behaviors that people saw in that. Yes. Righting wrongs is the highest one. Yes, yes, yes. And they're still coming in. I'm going to wait another minute. A few seconds. Oh, are we done or?
Wow.
Looks like they're still, Katie, is it
They're coming
okay?
in?
Right wrongs is getting the highest one, and you are correct. It is righting wrongs, but I also see talking straight in there, also being honest, absolutely. Demonstrating respect, and creating that transparency, right? Don't hide information, extremely important, right? I didn't want to hide information because client's never going to trust me again if I'm not honest with them. You know, and admitting our mistakes is so critical. Sometimes it's really hard because we're afraid. We're afraid of what might happen. You know, am I going to get fired? Am this person never going to want to work with me again? And Charlene knows me. You know, but you know, admitting your mistakes will help build that vulnerability. It helps build that trust. And when you build that trust, you're saving time and you're saving money for your organization. It is so important. I, was an HR specialist for many, many years, and I had many mistakes. and admitting them was helped build trust with me and my boss. It's so important. Now, I'm going to be the HR specialist and Charlene is going to be the client. Okay. And again, make sure you use the poll. I can't believe how much work I have on my desk. I have 10 vacancy drafts that need to be released, and I have 3 vacancy drafts which need to be reviewed by a subject matter expert. However, I realize how important sending out the structural engineering vacancy is for my client, Charlene. I do not think I will be able to get the structural engineering vacancy announcement out by Friday afternoon, but want to promise her I will be able to complete this by Friday afternoon because I can't afford to lose Charlene as a client.
Ring, ring. Colleen, how are you? Did you complete the vacancy announcement for me regarding the structural engineer?
Charlene, when we initially met last week, I thought I would be able to have the subject matter expert review the structural engineering vacancy announcement. However, I have to be honest, my subject matter expert was not able to review it. I'm going to have to push back the due date another week.
Colleen, I am a little disappointed, and I'm not sure now if you and your team will be able to handle the caseload.
Charlene, I apologize. I overlooked a few other stakeholder expectations and should have been upfront with you from the beginning. I am hoping you will give me another chance. After looking at the calendar and workload more carefully, would next Friday be a reasonable due date?
Yes, Colleen, that would be reasonable, but please, in the future, please keep me informed of all issues which may affect our work. I want to build a long-term relationship with you.
Yeah. So thank you, Charlene. So now we're looking at the polls here. I'm seeing, let's see in this. I can't push that. So when in the actual role play, we saw a lot. I see creating transparency. I can't see the whole screen, Katie, but I know that creating transparency and keeping commitments. Keeping commitments extremely important as well, and being transparent, those behaviors. Because in this particular scenario, I could have easily lost this client. Okay, I wasn't upfront with her from the beginning and meeting those deadlines and telling her that I'm not probably going to be able to commit. I need an additional week. I need an additional 2 weeks. So it has a lot of these behaviors, and the time and the cost savings is huge when you exhibit these trust building behaviors. It's so important in your relationships every day. Even if you want to meet with your boss or each other, whoever you have to meet with on a weekly basis, a bi-weekly basis, or a monthly basis, to go over everything. It's so important to keep open communication within the hiring process, because again, it will build those trust building with you, and you'll become a trusted advisor, and you'll be able to also have better customer service all around. So, but thank you so much for this. Thank you, Charlene, for your role play with me and helping me. And Charlene, it works very, very hard at the FHRI Institute. So
Thank
I
you,
wasn't sure if
Colleen.
we were going to, go ahead.
Are there any questions in the chat that we need to address?
We did have a question from Marisol. She asked, it's very, or I'm sorry, is it?
We're not seeing the chat.
It's Andrew. Is there any way to revive the trust? Sorry, Andrew.
Colleen?
I'm sorry, can you ask the question again?
Is
Yes,
there any way
Andrew
to
asked,
revive the trust?
right, if you break the trust or diminish it, how can you revive?
Well, it's a very good question. By your actions. and, moving forward, giving someone a second chance, and, being honest. And a lot of times it's not about doing what we say, but in our actions. Okay. If you make a mistake, can you give me another chance to show you that I can rectify it? I realize I made a mistake, but I'm asking you to give me a second time, to trust me, and that I can make this happen this time. I've learned from my mistake, and I'd like to build that relationship with you again. Please trust me. And then obviously, acting on it, doing what you say. And if you go through all of those 13 behaviors, making sure that you keep, being transparent, keeping those commitments, that will help build that relationship, so that that client will come back to you. I hope that answers your question.
Does anyone have examples that they can post in the chat? Colleen, I think that was great. I think you've said it in all of the behaviors that you described, that building trust is really about our actions, right? And the way we prove out that we're sincere and we're transparent and we're willing to go the distance to get the job done. Erica said, apologizing. Absolutely. When you own something, it really, in essence, takes the wind out of their sails of being mad at you. And it's like, okay, this person is being totally 100% with me and saying, I've done this, let's correct it and move on. And folks are more often willing than not to work with you to get to that place, right? Because they're trying to build a relationship. They don't want to start over. So actions always speak louder than words. Again, we're talking great responses in the chats, and then receiving the feedback, right? So we ask for feedback, we apologize, be gracious, and let the person have their say, acknowledge it, and then make your commitment for better working together in the future, and then keep it moving, right? Let's see. Under promise and over deliver. I love that. Set clear expectations. Keep your customer informed. Karen, thank you. No big blind sides, builds trust and respect, right? Because that person answers to someone else. Let's see, we're reading from the chat. Thank you so much for providing these. They're great.
I see one that says not being able to seek help. Absolutely, very critical. Sometimes we're afraid, call up a colleague, somebody, tell them your situation. It's like getting a second opinion, right? But when you have that fear is what really holds us back. So don't have that fear. And the more that you talk, you walk your talk and you're transparent, it'll become your everyday habits.
Absolutely.
So you won't have that fear. You won't have that fear anymore. But fear can really, really stifle you.
Right. Jada said integrity. Absolutely. The things Colleen are talking about, they build integrity within you. And then others see that, right? And, we can all learn from each other. And I think once we have that openness to discuss, folks are more welcoming than you would think. And we can't say it enough about owning your mistakes. And then you don't have to get mired down into defending it, right? It's on the table, you did it, let's fix it and move on, right? Just don't make it a habit, right? We also don't want to make that one of the bad habits. So all these things are going to contribute to interchange and building a relationship, because you really need to build, and we're all going back to trust, right? The key to this is to build that trust, that confidence from the hiring manager to the HR specialist that the job is going to be done well, meet all expectations, it's going to be a great experience, and more importantly, produce the results that meet the mission. Now, does anyone out there have a good customer experience that they would like to share with us that's been displayed? The behavior was displayed here today. Please feel free. We've got the time, so let's enjoy those great experiences.
And someone says here, I just wanted to make this a point, it's really important when you have trust, it empowers your employees. It's all about empowering people. Good point.
Absolutely. I like that.
And I'm just going back. Audra had asked to go back to the first 4 slides. If you see me clicking through them, I'm going back for her. I'm sure maybe she is copying something.
Not a problem. Great customer service. Thank you, Katie.
Yes, yes.
Glad I attended the webinar. I learned so much.
Exactly. We all do,
Mhm.
right? We all do. And it's
Yeah.
yeah, these
Your
had some
email.
great pointers for us to build on. And
Yes.
those foundation skills, right, Colleen, that we've all built over the years. And we continue to build. We continue to
Yep.
work to, you know, develop that relationship, right? And enhance that experience for the hiring manager. And that's what it's all about, because how great is it? You're doing what you need to do, you're feeling good, they're getting the great results,
Mhm.
they're feeling good, they're hiring the right people. Man, we're meeting missions all over the place, right? And it's a win-win-win, like Dr.
Yep.
Covey has talked about. Win-win, but it's a win-win-win
Mhm.
and plus wins as we go, right? So
Yep.
absolutely. Yeah,
Yep.
trust is the
Getting
glue.
that win-win. Yep.
Yeah,
And a lot, and also looking into what they're not telling you. Sometimes
right.
people, you got to figure it out, and like,
Yeah,
well,
draw it
she's
out of
telling me all
them.
this, but what am I missing? And then I'm like, oh, you're working on this, and that's what she's trying to figure out. But sometimes people can't verbalize it. So again,
Right.
listening to what they're not telling you is really,
Yeah,
really critical.
right. Very much so. And then, and again, that builds the trust, right? Because then they're thinking, gosh, she knows, he or
Yeah.
she knows what I'm thinking and what I need, because you understand that customer. And what, if it's something new, you're clarifying so they know you will check and ensure that you're going in the direction they need you to go in. So it just keeps building that trust. And, that gets out pretty quickly, that I can call Colleen and have a conversation with her. And so, folks know that that's a person A that you can go to. But, and one of the keys I think in HR is for us to have peer-to-peer collaboration. I can call a colleague, like
Mm-hmm.
Colleen mentioned, and say, hey, I'm working on this. Have you seen this? Or I think I'm going down the right path, but what do you think about what I'm thinking? And you can flesh it out. And it doesn't take long. It could be a brief conversation. You get what you need, and then you're able to move forward, right? And you're not sitting there just self-doubting and wasting time. So use these tools that are available to you. You've got colleagues around you. We've got some communities of practice out there in place. Utilize those. Call a friend, like the game show. And if they don't have the answer, may be able to put you in touch with someone who does, right? You know, go up, across, and down in your circle of levels around you. You'd be surprised how you can learn from every level at every level. So utilize
Mm-hmm.
that. Let's see. Naomi had a question. Meg, did we have one from Naomi? Questions to understand?
Naomi was just saying that it's good to ask a lot of questions, and I thought that was
Mm-hmm.
really good.
Absolutely.
Yes. And that
Absolutely.
goes with clarifying and those clear expectations. I know a lot of times I'll be in meetings, I'll be like, can you clarify that again? I'm really not sure. And then realizing that 5 other people on my team had the same question.
Right.
It's so important to continue to ask those questions. Why are we doing this? Or how is this being done? Never stop asking questions. So important. It pulls out that information and it will help again with that speed, right, of delivery and keeping the cost down.
Right. Answers to your questions. They'll give you answers.
Colleen and Charlene, I have a
Anything?
question. Talking about the asking for clarifying expectations. What happens when you've asked several clarifying questions and you still aren't sure what is being needed, how do you make sure that you provide the, like, how many times is too many times to ask the questions?
You well,
Well,
what? Go ahead, Charlene, and then I'll answer. Go ahead.
Well, for me, I think it's framing it differently because sometimes it's in the framing, right? We got to take ownership of that. Sometimes in the framing, I'm not articulating what I really need from that person. So it's really a misunderstanding, right? And so sometimes framing it up. And one of the things that I think a lot of people use in communication, and I like it, is when they ask you back that they understand what you're asking, right? So, and you can get to them to that point. It takes a little bit of savvy, but with work, you can get them to be asking you, in essence, the what I think I heard you say, right? So that's a good. So you might use that tactic because you know people mirror behaviors, right? So if they say something you don't understand, and you say, "What I think I hear you say," and you would be surprised how folks will adapt and use that same strategy when you ask a question and they don't understand or they're not asking what you want to get to. Reframe the question. Colleen?
I always say paraphrase back what they're saying. I'm a coach, so I do this a lot with my husband. I'm like, can you explain that again? What did you really mean? And he'll say, were you not listening to me? So I always paraphrase back what I heard him say. And then that way it'll help him to understand what he thinks I heard, right? So again, sometimes what we think we heard is not really what we heard. So when I say back what the person said, it helps them see what they did say, and sometimes they're like, oh, I didn't realize I did not tell you that. So that piece is critical. I always say, give them a little summary of what they just said to you, and then ask another question.
Right. Now, Patricia had an experience and she asked the individual to communicate to her what they heard so she could identify where the misunderstanding occurred. That's a great point, Patricia. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Makes sense, everyone? We've been talking about that. Yeah, that's great. Anyone else?
So what you'd like from me is Naomi has a point here. She says, I missed it.
Let them know what you think they want. Let them tell you. Right, I like that. So what you're saying is, right, and then they can say, no, that's not at all what I'm saying, right? They can correct you right then and there, and then we can have that clarity and move to the next. Excellent. Thank you, Naomi. Great conversation. Thank you, everyone. We really appreciate that.
Yes.
A lot of us are, and I'm sure a lot of you out there are truly familiar with the Covey Trust behaviors and just a lot of the philosophy from Dr. Stephen Covey. So please, when you remember those, keep a list and it'll help you just build you and for a good day, so that as you go about your day, you feel empowered to execute the work you're charged with doing and meet the mission and exceed expectations, because that'll come, right? Once you're comfortable, you're doing the work, it's going well, the customer is happy, it's like we're hitting it out of the park. So keep those in mind and you will continue to do the great work that you're doing. Colleen?
Absolutely. In your everyday beings, please, keep this handy. And remember, sometimes it's if we continue to practice these behaviors, it will really help help you build those relationships with your clients and your team as well. Very, very important.
Right. And you know what? We've got a great one that just came in, and you mentioned it before, and Alba has said it to us. Tone is so important. One of the things I think I've crafted as an art is the abilities to say no and not have people explode on me, because I couch it in tone. You don't overspeak it, but you rationalize it and you give them the nugget but the tone is everything, right? Because it's what sets the aggression from the informed delivery and so on and so forth. Thank you, Albert. Really appreciate that tip. Yes.
Yep.
Okay, if we don't have any more questions or comments, I want to take this opportunity to express our appreciation for all that you do in service to our nation and for taking the time to attend this workshop today. I hope that you gained some ideas to bring back to the workplace. Please visit our website, leadership.opm.gov, if you'd like additional information about our programs and services. We value your partnership and thank you for all that you do. I would like to provide the contact information for the FHRI team, and you can reach out to us via email with questions or visiting the website. Happy Public Service Recognition Week.
Yes. Thank you, everyone. Have a great rest of the week.